Tonight, police reinforcement team from the Eastern Region Command pitch camp in Achim, Jampomeni and Hemang communities following clashes between the two communities over illegal mining. Tonight, we'll be live in the area to bring you the latest on this subject. Also in this edition, we put the focus back on the 3 Takrade missing girls as affected families continue to lament government's seeming deafening silence on the matter. Still on crime tonight, Accra High Court rescinds bail granted Gregory Afoko, one of the men standing trial for allegedly conspiring to kill NPP Upper East Region Chairman Alhaji Adam Mahama in 2015. Later in this broadcast, we'll talk about the preacher man Daniel Obinim as he drags the Ghana Revenue Authority to court over what he calls unlawful placement of lien on his Fidelity Bank account. Later in the program, we'll hear what the GRA has to say for itself. The 15th of July 2019. Good evening. This is News Tonight. My name is Keminni Amano. Here's our first story. A police reinforcement team from the Eastern Region Command is heading to Achim, Jampomeni and Hemang communities to maintain law and order following clashes between residents of these two communities after a protest by residents of Achim Hemang against Dome mining. The town folks protesting the pollution of the Birim River and degrading of the environment by the mining firm.
The residents, clad in red and black dresses holding placards, hit the streets and invaded the mining sites to drum home their displeasure about the devastation being caused by the mining company. Residents of Jampomeni mounted roadblock preventing cars from moving to and from their Achim Hemang amidst molestation and manhandling of drivers and passengers while threatening to clash with protesters at Achim Hemang opposing mining in the area. Some also pulled the trigger, firing warning shots at the site. But they were overpowered with a pump action gun seized from them. They subsequently took to their heels. They accused residents of Achim Hemang of being instigated by their distilled chief, Professor Nurikisi Aporiata.
God run the one year there I see him pet and no one some and I may shot to say 1 year and Chilman or who better won't say and say that he yet baby and you see him pet and deciding on way
Police team from Kibi district, which later arrived in the community, were resisted by the residents of Jampomeni, hence the deployment of counter-terrorism units from the Regional Police Command to the community. A joint team of armed police and Galam Stop and Anti-Galamsey Task Force, numbering about 50, on Saturday, stormed the Achim Hemang community in the Fantiakwa South district of the Eastern Region following clashes between a mining company and the agitating residents protesting against mining at the riverbanks of Birim River. Residents blocked the company from moving an excavator through the community to their mining site at Dome community, forcing the company to allegedly unleash some thugs to also block the main road leading to the community. This action infuriated the already incensed residents of Achim Hemang, who pounced on the thugs to beat them to pulp. They subsequently attempted to set them on fire. This has heightened tension in the community as both factions prepare to square it off. Keminni recently came into the news after Ochenhene Osadifo Amwetiofo Penny distilled their chief, Professor Mirikisi Aporiata. The distilled chief has over the years taken entrenched position against illegal mining in the area. The chief has been accused of causing arrest of recalcitrant miners ostensibly to protect the environment and the Birim River. It will be recalled that in January 2019, the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining Task Force invaded the mining site of Nawara Mining Company at Achim in Suapemso in the Fantiakwa South District of the Eastern Region and set ablaze 4 excavators and pumping machines and arrested some workers following continuous complaints from the chief of Keminni that the company has been mining in the Birim River.
Now, in a moment, we'll speak with police in the eastern region, bring you up to speed the situation on the ground in Hemang and Jampomeni right now. But let's come back to the capital city, Accra, and head for the courts, because an Accra High Court presided over by Court of Appeal judge sitting with additional responsibility as a High Court judge, Justice Merle Ifuawood, has rescinded the bail granted Gregory Afoko on 14th March 2019 by Justice George Boedi Court after the state made an oral application that's to the effect in court today, the 15th of July 2019.
Marina Apiopari, Chief State Attorney, in her submission indicated that the state has cause to be concerned that should the accused person's bail be allowed to hold, he is likely not to make himself available for the trial. Lawyer for Gregory Afoko, Sowa Chawe, in his opposition to the oral application of the state, said the style adopted by the state can best be described as ambush litigation. He added that his client will at all times make himself available for trial while he is on bail. The presiding judge, after the arguments, ruled that based on the facts presented in the oral application of the state, the bail is rescinded. She further ruled that the court will ensure a speedy trial of the case in order to avert any further delays. The parties will return to court on Wednesday, 17th July 2019. It is expected that the court will take the plea of the 2 accused persons and also empanel a 7-member jury for the trial to commence. An Accra High Court on the 14th of March 2019 granted bail to Gregory Afoko, one of the suspects alleged to have killed the Upper East Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Adams Mahama, in 2015. Afoko was admitted to bail in the sum of 500,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties, one of which must be justified. As part of the bail conditions, the court, presided over by Justice George Boedi, also ordered Afoko to report himself to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service every 2 weeks.
Now let's have a conversation on the back of the story. Wilberforce Asara is a legal affairs correspondent. He's here with me in the studio. But I also want you to know that we'll be joined by human rights lawyer Francis Sosu over the telephone and look at this matter in the face of the law. You may well know this is not the first time that this is happening to Gregory. So Wilberforce will take us back into time and tell us what has been happening the last 2 years or so since this case has been there. Wilberforce, let's start with what happened in court. What was the new evidence that prosecution brought to court that was so significant that they had to rescind the previous Justice Boedi's court's decision?
Well, so they did not present any evidence, but this is the issue. The issue is that there was a previous case that was going on. It went on for about 4 years. And then the second accused person was arrested. Now, the 2 of them were charged together, conspiracy to commit murder and then murder. Now, Afoko was standing trial alone for the murder charge, and then the second accused got arrested. So what it meant was that the charge of conspiracy to commit murder has now matured because there are two people that can be tried for it. And that is why the state decided to discontinue the initial case and to charge and to now prosecute the two of them together. And so essentially what the state's argument is that the previous case is no longer existent. And it was based on the previous case that the accused person, which is the first accused, was granted bail. So to that end, they think that that bail application that bail that he was granted is moot. And so the court ought to do away with it and to reinstate him as being in lawful custody so that he can stand trial for the new case which has been instituted against him. In fact, the case was supposed to be moved in court today.
But Wilberforce, you followed legal issues for a very long time. What do you think about this play that the prosecution is taking, this role that the prosecution appears to be playing in this theater in court? Because then, even if the case has died off because of fresh evidence that has come up and you're starting a new one, we also know that his offense is bailable. And so whether or not the bail was to do with the previous case, he is entitled to bail. That's what I want to say.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is that his liberties have been taken away from him, no matter how you look at it, because he is not he is in custody, and he has been there since 2015 to 2019. And so the argument that has been made is that since every offense is bailable in the country, if he has been granted bail, he should be allowed to go home and come and stand trial. The other side of the argument is that, particularly the second accused person, the state sought after him for 4 years before they were able to find him. And so if you are granting the first accused bail, what it means is that you must extend it to the second accused person. The second accused person is somebody who had been at large for 4 years, all the time that Gregory was in custody from 2015 till when he was arrested.
Well, does that not make it a significant conditional difference then? Because then you've been looking for this person, however, you've had Gregory in your custody the last 2 or 3 years. That makes a significant conditional difference in that you can say that, yes, you want to hold the second accused person because the person has been at large.
Absolutely, but now these two persons have been charged together. So at what point do you treat one different from the other? And I'm sure that that is what the state is grappling with and trying to avoid. However, we are still dealing with the liberties of somebody who has been in custody, stood trial for 4 years. In fact, the first trial, it was at the stage where lawyers were supposed to file their addresses, and then the court was actually going to deliver a judgment.
Right.
And so if you stop it after all this, and they called several witnesses, I think some 14 witnesses in the case, what it means is that at this stage, they are going to have to call all the witnesses again. Those who were called previously, they were going to call them all again and then start this whole trial process. So it is understandable. However, the state is entertaining some fears that should they grant the accused person bail, it's likely that he might be on the run like the first accused person. The second accused person was on the run for over 3 years before he was apprehended.
The case, the prosecution must have a really good reason to put that case across. Unfortunately, we've not been able to get the police to speak on this matter, find out what is informing their perception or decision or conclusion that Gregory Afoko could abscond once he's granted bail, for which reason they're keeping him. And again, we are not able to raise Francis over the telephone, but tell us, prosecution must have been doubly disappointed with the outcome here, because already they were on the neck of the police to release Gregory based on Justice Boedi's court's decision, and now they have another one slap them.
Yes, in fact, you're talking about the defense team. Yes. So, yes, it's true. And right in the court when the state made, and again, we need to note that today the application was done orally, so the state did not come with any documents that had been filed. They did it orally in the court, and the judge obliged them. There was an opposition to the judge, the lawyer who represented Gregory. He opposed it. He actually referred to it as ambush litigation because he thinks they were taken by surprise. However, the court, presided over by a court of appeal judge, really agreed with the prosecution and rescinded the bail. So I don't know whether they are going to put up a fight, because they put up a fight initially. It went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court actually dismissed it. So we do not know whether they are going to put up another fight to this latest phenomenon, or they are going to leave it the way it is.
Well, just stay put for me. Well, if I haven't told you yet, our first few minutes here on News Tonight, this hour, we will focus on a number of crime issues. We've talked about Hemang and how police has had to reinforce its team on the ground. Over the phone now is Public Relations Officer for the Eastern Region Police Command. Well, it looks like I have lost him over the telephone, but DSP Ebenezer Tete was to join us and tell us what's been happening since reinforcements reached the Hemang community and Jampomeni as well. Those two communities clashed earlier in the day over a mining concession there. We'll find out what the backstory is. But in the absence of that, I'd want us to go quickly back to the court and as I told you earlier, Preacher Obiniam is in the news. This time, it's because he's taking legal action, not flying. And he's mentioned that, Presiding Bishop of the International God's Way Church, Bishop Daniel Obiniam, has sued the Ghana Revenue Authority over what he calls an unlawful placement of lien on his Fidelity Bank account by the GRA. The Ghana Revenue Authority's action against the bishop followed non-payment of rent taxes owed the state over a block of 21 units of shop situated at Tema, as well as the operations of Abroso Guest House.
Lawyer for the applicant, Ralph Pokwedu, say in a statement of claim filed on behalf of Bishop Obiniam, is seeking 9 reliefs from the court. Among them are a declaration that the plaintiff has paid all taxes due and demanded by first defendant, the GRA, from the plaintiff in respect of rent taxes payable on the 21 shops for the period of 2014 to 2018, and that he does not owe in taxes the sum of 769,095 Ghana cedis and 87 pesos, purportedly representing rent taxes payable on the block of 21. Furthermore, Bishop Obiniam is seeking an order to set aside and or strike out the garnishment notice issued at 10 a.m. 27th day of June 2019 by the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, first defendant hearing, directed at the second defendant, Fidelity Bank, to pay to the first defendant the sum of 769,095 Ghana cedis and 87 pesos as being unlawful. It is the further prayer of the bishop that an order of perpetual injunction restraining the second defendant, which is Fidelity Bank, from placing lien on the plaintiff's bank accounts and from paying of any funds held in the plaintiff's bank accounts and fixed deposits to the first defendant in respective of the garnishment notice issued at 10 a.m. 27th day of June 2019 by the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, first defendant hearing, and in respect of any future garnishment notice in respect of the same rent taxes payable on the block of 21 units of shops for the period of 2014 to 2018, and also payment of any value-added tax due and owed by Abroso Guest House Limited, if any, without recourse to a court order. Additionally, Bishop Obiniam seeks an order directed at the second defendant, Fidelity Bank, to remove any lien and or charge placed on plaintiff's funds in his bank accounts and all other fixed deposits investments held with the second defendant, and make all or same accessible to the plaintiff, as well as punitive damages against the first defendant for unlawful issuance of the garnishment notice. The Ghana Revenue Authority, according to the statement of claim on 18th December 2018, wrote to Bishop Obinim demanding payment of alleged tax liability of the sum of 719,890 Ghana cedis, 28,990 of the said amount the GRA believes represents rent taxes for the period of 2014 to 2018 on a block of 21 units of shop situated at Tema and owned by Bishop Daniel Obinim, and the remaining 690,900 Ghana cedis, the GRA says, represent total value added tax charged for the period 1st January 2016 to 31st July 2018 from the business operations of Abroso Guest House Limited, a separate limited liability corporate entity which is not under the management of Bishop Obinim.
I know your interest just peaked in all sorts of ways on the story. I'll tell you more about it in the moment. But let's go to Heman, where something equally serious has been happening today. A police reinforcement team is on the ground in the Heman community to make sure that order and some peace is maintained there. DSP Ebenezer Tete speaks for the Eastern Region Police Command, and he joins me over the telephone. DSP, good evening.
Good evening, Keminni.
What would you say the situation is on ground right now?
Calm has been restored to the Heman area following the clashes between the community members and other persons who invaded the community ostensibly to mine at a place where the community members see as their bona fide area of mining, which nearly resulted in a clash between the two groups. I mean, the committee members and then the members who invaded the community. So, as we speak now, the reinforcement from the Rapid Deployment Force from the Eastern Regional Police Command were able to restore calm to the area. The two groups have been told not to do any other thing to disturb the peace of the area.
I see.
And as we speak now, the police presence is visible on the ground, and they are still monitoring the situation closely.
Right. How long will your men be on the ground?
So far as the situation remains calm but very fluid, they will continue to monitor the situation. They will be asked to stand down as and when the situation completely normalizes. So as we speak now, they are still on the ground, monitoring the situation closely.
I see. Let's go back to events of earlier today when the actual clash took place. What has been your assessment of the situation so far?
As I have indicated to you, it's about a place where mining is done, and actually the issue is about the environmental impact in the area and how the mining is destroying some water bodies in the community, and that's why community members are up in arms against other people coming to actually contribute to the exacerbation of the problem, and they are trying to stand their grounds to try and ensure that that is not further compounded. So that is what we are currently dealing with.
Now, DSP, I asked my earlier question because the police had need to reinforce his team on the ground. So my earlier question was geared towards whether or not any arrests were made because of the clashes, whether or not there's been an assessment of properties that may or may not have been destroyed. What is the situation that you've picked up?
As we speak now, that I cannot readily give you. No arrests have been made. Because the situation was quite fluid, and any attempt to try to do that will further escalate the problem. So as we speak now, we have managed to restore calm to the area.
Right.
And the place is calm. So that is what we are dealing with for now.
How confident are you that there will not be a repeat just when you do your turnaround and go back to your station or to your offices? How sure are you that the residents really have listened to your plea to them to keep order?
That is why I'm telling you that the men have completely not been withdrawn from the area. They are currently monitoring the situation. The situation on the ground will determine whether we stand down the men or we let them continue to be on the ground. So as we speak now, the situation is being monitored closely, and our men are on standby to respond to any situation that will be a breach of the area, a breach of the peace in the area, and they are prepared to make sure that anybody who dare does anything to affect the security, peace, and tranquility of the area is quickly brought to book without any fear of evaluation or affection.
Great. I want to take you out of these communities and talk about the 2 suspects who have been arrested over the killing of the 24-year-old businesswoman, Rita Efia Eduse Opokua. What has been the latest development on this one?
Yes, we arrested 2 of the assailants early this morning. It was based on intelligence. What we have been able to piece so far from the arrest that we have made is that these 2 persons are drug addicts, and they committed a particular dastardly crime ostensibly to deprive or to appropriate the personal belonging of the deceased person.
I see.
As she was callously murdered, they took away her phones and some other things that were with her. And from what we are also gathering, initially when the body was found, the jeans was slightly pulled down. From our investigation so far, it is indicating that they tried to sexually, assault her, and that she resisted fiercely, and that might have led to a strangulation and subsequent death. So as we speak now, we have 2 of the suspects in our custody as we are speaking now. We are looking to get more of them arrested because we are told it is not an action that was done by
based on
the 2 who are in our custody as we speak now.
Now, based on police theory and investigations, how many more are you expecting to pick up in connection to this case?
Those you have arrested are mentioning 2 more persons. So we are following the same lead and intelligence that led to the arrest of the 2, so that we can get the other persons also arrested, so that they are made to face the full recourse of the law. If we are unable to do so, mind you, they have a statutory 48 hours to be in our custody. So if you are unable to do so for now, they will be charged and arraigned before court so that we have them remanded whilst we continue with the investigation.
Right. Now, so for those 2 you have in your custody at the moment, has police done any profiling of these men? Who are they beyond why they committed, allegedly, this dastardly act?
One is a 36-year-old Francis Togwika, and the other is Idi Mohammed alias Columbia. These are the names that we are dealing with for now. One of them was connected because the phone of the deceased person was found in his possession, and the other is alleged to have also had something that belongs to the lady that's connected directly to the offense. Initially, when we got to the scene to get him arrested, he managed to escape, but subsequently, through intelligence, we had him arrested.
Very well, thank you very much. We'll leave it here for now. DSP Ebenezer Tete speaks for the Eastern Region Police Command. We've been talking about 2 critical issues that have occurred in the Eastern Region. One earlier today, the other over the past few weeks there. We talked about the murder of Rita Opokua and also the Heman Jampomeni clashes that took place today. Their men are still on the ground for the next foreseeable future. But right now, to the story that has got your attention the last hour here on GH1 television. Let's talk about preacher man Daniel Obini. I told you earlier, he's suing the GRA for unlawfully taking over his properties. Now, Wilberforce Asare is our legal affairs correspondent. He's still here with me, but I also need to tell you that I have the GRA over the telephone to tell us the backstory on this and then the reaction to the suit. My understanding is that we have lost Mr. Bobi Ansah over the telephone, but we'll get him and have that conversation. In the meantime, Wilberforce.
Yes.
Really, this story has been it's been on the blind side of the media, because anything Bishop Obinim is quite interesting for public consumption. But this one seems to have been on the quiet. Why are we hearing about it now?
Well, so indeed, on the 4th of July, he caused his lawyers to apply for interlocutory injunction against the Ghana Revenue Authority and also the Commissioner General of the same authority. Now, essentially, what he's saying is that he went to access his money at Fidelity, and the Fidelity Bank told him that his account has been garnished, or there's a garnishment on his account by the Commissioner General, and so he cannot touch his funds. And the reason is because there are two issues. The first one is that some rent tax of some stores ought to be paid in excess of about 39,000 Ghana cedis, and also the operation of a certain guest house called Abroso Guest House, which is owned by Mr. Obinim, or Bishop Obinim, has not paid VAT accrued to the state for a period of time. And so essentially he's saying that the GRA doesn't have the power to garnish his personal account if they are looking for him on issues to do with taxation, particularly about a company that he owns. He says the company is a legal entity on its own, and so you need to treat it as a legal entity. So to garnish his personal account, to him, he thinks is unlawful, and so he's asking that garnishing of his account should be declared unlawful and same removed, so he can access his money in his private bank accounts in the Fidelity Bank. And so that's what this case is all about.
But in terms of practice, what would you say could be or could be not with this story? For instance, does Obinim have a case when he say that I have an LLC, limited liability company, and so it should not extend to my personal properties, which sounds very sensible, but then there must be a legal reason also for why the GRA may now want to extend its arm onto its on his personal properties. What are we looking at here? What's at play?
Well, okay, so the education I've had on this from speaking to the lawyers is that there are times that when you are looking for the properties of a company, you are not able to lay hands on it. And so there is something they call lifting of the veil. They will lift the veil off the legal entity and then identify who is the person behind that legal entity. And so in this case, Bishop Daniel Obinim is the owner of the company, even though the company itself is a legal entity and should be treated separately from him. Perhaps they are looking for an account of the company and they can't find it. And so they will lift the veil and look for the one who is behind the company and then make sure they surcharge that person's account. And so that is what I probably see being at play. That the Ghana Revenue Authority perhaps have not been able to find an account that is linked to the company, which is Abroso Guest House. And so they look for who owns the company so that they can touch that person and to be able to raise the money back.
Is Bishop making the point that he doesn't owe any back taxes?
Well, so he's making the point from the statement of claim that the taxes to do with rent he has duly paid based on an investigations conducted by Afoko and the Ghana Revenue Authority. The issue about VAT has to do with the company that he owns and not him personally. And so he doesn't see why you will garnish his personal bank account. And that is where, for me, the contention is the fact that...
So by inference, it would seem that he's admitting that, yes, I haven't paid, but don't go after my personal properties.
Well, I cannot...
Let me put you on the spot.
I cannot independently...
The Bible does say something about paying taxes. What does it say? You are also a man of God.
Well,
the Bible does say something about paying taxes, right?
You have to give unto Caesar what is due Caesar.
Amen.
And so if something
Bishop,
is due Caesar...
he just quoted you something.
If something is due Caesar, you give unto Caesar. But I cannot independently confirm whether he's accepted that he owes VAT or not. What he's saying is that if you are saying a company that he owns VAT, it is not him personally.
We'll leave it
and so don't touch my personal account.
We'll leave it at that. Unfortunately, we are unable to get the GRA at the moment. They have promised to respond in subsequent broadcasts. Stay tuned for that here on GH1 television. But I'm going to say thank you to you, Wilberforce, for your time tonight. Wilberforce Asare is our legal affairs correspondent. If you've been with us since the beginning of the program, then you may well know that tonight we want to put the focus back on the missing girls. That's coming up in Insight. Families of the 3 kidnapped Takoradi girls and thousands of concerned Ghanaians are dismayed by the silent posturing being portrayed by government on the issue. Michael Labi Kranche is older brother of Priscilla Kranche, one of the 3 missing girls. He's stated that his family, together with the families of the other girls, would petition the First Lady of the Republic if all other efforts at getting government to be involved in the issue fail. He believes that the national security has not been fair to the families, considering how fast the Canadian girls were found. According to Michael, the police have not been forthcoming and liaison officers have not executed their duties as expected.
Talking about the state of the family now, she is the only girl amongst the 3 children. So her departure has caused a great damage to the family. It's very difficult for us to cope because in our daily activities, we do recall memories of her, and it makes things very difficult for us. I wouldn't blame the national security. I would blame the police in Takoradi. When we went to report, in my sister's case, they initially told us that she might be in her boyfriend's room and that they didn't take the matter seriously. And with the case of the second victim, the police made a comment that in this era, they don't think it's a kidnap. So they were also towing the same line that she might be somewhere else, and that it was a prank. It was a way of getting money from the families. If they had started very well like they did in the case of the Canadians, the case would have been different by now. Within the next 2 weeks, we should be able to hear something. The National Security Minister, Honorable Brian Achampong, quite recently made a comment that they know where the girls are and that they are working assiduously to rescue them. We do believe it could be true. So we are just appealing to him as well that they should speed up things. All effort to reach out to the police on this matter seems not to be working out. All that they tell us is they are on it. It has become an anthem. I personally went to the divisional commander in Takoradi. He said they are working on it. I came to the BNI. They said they are working on it. So it seems it has become a norm. That is all that they keep saying, we are working on it. And for your information, the district commander in Takoradi, whom we were getting information for initially, has been transferred. He is no more in Takoradi. The CID who was handling the case has also been transferred. And then the regional commander now has also been transferred. So I don't know what is happening. I don't know. And I don't know how to put the whole thing in context. There was supposed to be a liaison team who would be communicating with the aggrieved families, but I don't think they are doing enough. It's been over 2 months down since they visited, and we are sorry to say that they are not doing enough in terms of communication. Our plea is to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the former Vice President, Jerry John Rawlings, Mr. John Kufuor, and John Dramani Mahama. We are appealing to them. If they could put themselves into this matter, I think it would help the police set on their toes and speed up things. All that we can do now is there are a lot of mothers in the country. The First Lady, for instance, the Second Lady. I think if we hear nothing from this press conference we are going to petition them to help us. Maybe if they also come in, it would help. There are several civil society organizations, women advocacy organizations. We would petition them if we hear nothing.
Let's talk more about this subject. Spokesperson of the families of the 3 missing girls, Michael Hayford, has joined us over the telephone. Good evening, Michael.
Yeah, good evening.
Michael, you know the status of the other 2 ladies, and by that I mean their families. How are they coping?
It's not been easy. It's not been easy at all.
Right. When was the last time these families had any engagement whatsoever with the police?
It's past 3 months now.
3 months.
Yeah.
Have there been attempts to reach the police on what development there may be to this investigation?
Yeah, we have made several attempts by going to the regional headquarters. When we went there, they are telling us that the PRO, the one who is in charge of Ghana Police Service PRO at regional headquarters, she's on leave. So we couldn't even get anybody to, update us or whatever we are expecting.
I see. Now, it would appear that very little is coming from the police as far as their engagement with you as the family members or the rest of us as the public is concerned on this matter. It seems to be grinding to a halt. Outside of the police, what is the family doing to help itself?
But it's the family that we came up by calling for demonstration, appealing to the Ghana Police Service for them to go and arrest John. And they made it possible by arresting John. After they made the arrest, they have sent the stakeholders, 2 suspects, to court without the family knowledge or family consent.
Right. Now, will the family consider the help of private investigators at this point?
We are all trying our possible best to at least to find these girls. But we initially we give all our hopes to Ghana Police Service because whatever attempts that we make, they will be telling us, kidnapping issue, it takes time, we should give them time here and then. But we are saying that the IGP himself come up by telling us that kidnapping issue takes some time, or at least we should give them time. But the Canadians, less than 2 weeks, they were able to, rescue them. So what are they telling the ordinary Ghanaians?
Are you confident that we'll find these girls and even find them alive?
Yeah, I have the confidence, I have the belief. If the police are doing genuine work, we will find our lovely sisters.
I see. Now, so going forward, we realize that the Cruncher family is giving the police an ultimatum. If they don't hear from them by a certain time, they will take action. Is this something that resonates with the rest of the families?
Yeah, we all agree to make that step. Whatever that we do, the 3 families come together by taking that step. So we are saying that on the 10th, God willing, there will be a demonstration massively in Takoradi without permit. And then at the same time, on the 17th, we will come to Accra, demonstrate, because we need to come, because we have realized that every demonstration that we come up with, it comes with the results.
I see. Well, we'll wish you all the best. Unfortunately, we are unable to help you prod some information out of the police service. They will not answer our questions either. And we can only wish you the best. Thank you very much, Michael. Michael Hayford speaks for the families, the 3 families involved in the missing girls. You're watching News Tonight here on GH1 Television. I'm Keminni. Amano. I'll be right back with more news. Stay with us.
Shady Roma to me.
Roma insecticide spray and mosquito fell. And Tonton Master, a baby Juanamo. She's so madahati. Roma insecticide spray at that Roma. Interfere, Entatia, make a cheha. No way. Shemikunu and Tonton Bako crown fanimo. And also a pussy. Roma insecticide spray and mosquito quell. And how dare we show? Roma,
Roma and Tonton Master.
Ghana card no, and you're more than just a means of identification. We are patriotic there. It's going to open up a new world of secure transactions and benefits for all Ghanaians. As an electronic ID, the new Ghana card even allows you to travel within the ECOWAS sub-region without your regular passport.
To register, you have to provide your name, date and place of birth, your residential address, your digital address code, and the name of your parents or legal guardians. Note, you also need either a birth certificate or a valid Ghanaian passport. But if you don't have any of the required documents, don't worry. A relative or two members of your community who have registered and have their Ghana card can vouch for you under oath.
Your Ghana card will be the only acceptable ID for all transactions which require you to prove your identity. And beware, providing false information will lead to your arrest and prosecution.
It's a new era of connectivity, access, and progress for all.
Memubia Nadao. Register for your Ghana card now. One nation, one Ghana card.
Look sharp, look sharp.
Wow! My uniform looks different.
From my head to my toes.
You're the best grandpa ever.
Afoko spray starch. Majimo point.
Hi, Pops.
Actually, pause. Abarintin wogumen masidam. When you want to remember na monto do mo. Afi ni enya spray starch papa. Onja particles be or water no more. Odosu wom onye water no so fi. No wrinkles, smooth iron.
Yeshon papa. Afoko spray starch. Me here perfume.
Point 2.
Also, yes, guy. Afoko spray starch.
Look sharp.
Afoko spray starch. Look sharp, look sharp.
Not again. We had the same problem. Try new Molfix.
Molfix absorbs the liquid immediately, even under pressure. Molfix. Happy today, happy tomorrow.
Madam, I said,
yes. Oh, I bet some an abro. I bet some dodo.
Yamishra Moate. No. Oh, my man, sister. Hey, Ghana for. I can't see in airport. Minimato price can I say, oh, when I'm trying to junior, I'm boy, I'm going to say, I'm on for, a drum for, say high sense had that for more mother new room. For movie, never Joe dear, now planning to how.
I will say after we're there, yeah, show high sense TV so. Now you see what our high sense sound system so. Now you don't come our high sense phone so. If it's 18th May, I come from 19th July. Me, Madam High Sense, my teacher say who high sense. Everyday prices for everyday people.
Sasso, baby, c'est pour me tonton frépon. Sasso, baby, c'est pour me tonton frépon. Edwana Jamie, you say, yeah, Cassiane, malaria. Minyami, me Sasso spray. Every mosquito study run away. Sasso, mi se come tonton freko. Come tonton freko. Sasso e come tonton freko.
Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight here on GH1 Television. It's time for business news.
Business Brief is brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN. And Star Assurance, your solid partner.
After your home is burgled, who would you be? The Mr. Iradimewu? Or the Mr. Obinsobibuo? Or the Mr. I've got Star. Star Home Policy makes all the difference when burglary happens. Live. Let Star take care of it. Sign up to Star Comprehensive Homeowners Insurance today. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Hey, Ja, we're for you. Some countries are here. Santiago, no. Oh, you guy rough. It's a car, me do tina opoko, sir. Huh? What do you do that? Me, you someone know we need. Somebody new. Before breakfast, this was setting. Control one gin too. Wow, look. I am
MTN is giving away 10 brand new cars in the MTN Momo at 10 promo. The grand prize is the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe plus other exciting prizes. 2019 i10 cars, Samsung Smart TVs, e-cash and more. Keep using MTN Momo and win big from now to the end of August. Only on Ghana's best network. Dial *120# to check your points. TNCs apply. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Business Brief is brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN. And Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Time now for business news, and tonight MTN Ghana has officially ended this year's 21 days of Yellow Care program in Accra. The 2019 edition touched over 2,000 lives here in Ghana.
The MTN Yellow Care is a staff volunteering activity aimed at empowering the youth, especially the unemployed, with logistical support and skills training. The program, which commenced on June 1, 2019 and ended on June 21, was on the theme Creating a Brighter Future for Our Youth. This year, 330 unemployed young people were trained in makeup artistry, wig making, bead making and online digital marketing. Again, 150 youth were trained in programming, web designing and entrepreneurship, and 48 young entrepreneurs were mentored and trained on digitizing their businesses to yield better results.
Our executive senior managers mentored 48 young CEOs, and I was actually part of this session. It was really interesting and fulfilling, and also show them how to digitally move their business to the next level. MTN volunteers supported the construction of a 20-bed capacity hostel for trainees at the WAG Cervico Center at Pantine. In addition, MTN has also provided training in financial management, social media, and customer relations for selected beneficiaries.
MTN staff also supported in the construction of a 20-bed capacity hostel for trainees at the WAG Cervico Center, which is a skill training institution at Pantang. Staff also visited some correctional centers to motivate the young inmates, where over 1,000 youth under the Global Yellow Care Day initiative were educated on the negative impacts of drug abuse at Temamahian, Cape Coast and Takrady.
Today we're here to officially close the 2019 edition of 21 Days of Yellow Care Challenge, which was launched from the 1st to the 21st of June. During that period, all of us went out there, rolled up our sleeves, and made sure we fulfilled the core mandate of delivering 21 days of yellow care in partnership with the partners that you see here today. And we're all extremely proud of the outcome and the impact that you've had on all the youth whose lives we touched during that period.
This year's 21 Yellow Care had 92% of staff participation as compared to 66% attained in 2018. Some staff beneficiaries and partners, including EIB Network, Nanaba Namwa and Kwame Eugene, were awarded for their dedication and support in this year's edition.
That'll be all for tonight on Business.
Business Brief is brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN. And Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Just before we leave you, let me tell you about Ghana-France relations, which both countries are looking forward to increasing cooperation in various fields such as human resource development and agro-processing to help both countries harness more growth potentials. Now, this was made known by Gender Minister Cynthia Morrison at the residence of the French ambassador in an event to mark French National Day here in Accra.
In recent years, the budding bilateral relationship between Ghana and France has been further strengthened on all fronts, including political and economic relations. President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a few days back, completed a 4-day official visit to France, an indication of the willingness to prioritize the best courses of action. This is in order to tackle regional and global issues and orient the nation's development on a more sustainable path. Ghana and France's age-old relationship dates back to the 18th century. In 2012, the value of French foreign direct investments in Ghana was 9 million euros for a stock amounting to 1.4 billion euros. This ranked Ghana as 7th destination in sub-Saharan Africa for French investors, and the presence of French companies in Ghana continues to increase.
What better proof of mutual understanding than our commitment to support Ghana's policy? French companies contribute to the ambitious One District, One Factory. To only name a few, Grell opens a new factory in Takoradi supplied by solar energy. Nexans just started a new cable production with Tema. And the new harbour of Tema is now ready to become the largest port in West Africa.
In her keynote address, Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Cynthia Morrison, stated that both countries need to cooperate more in other sectors to deepen their ties.
Permit me to express appreciation to the government of France for the continuous technical and economic support that has been made available to Ghana through cooperation in the areas of defense, agriculture, health, education, as well as energy and public sector reforms. Other areas in which our two countries could increase cooperation include human resource development, tourism and culture, agro-processing in Ghana, among others.
Ghana joined France to celebrate the French National Day at the residence of the French ambassador. The French National Day is the anniversary of storming of the Bastille on 14 July 1789, a turning point of the French Revolution, as well as the Fête de la Fédération, which celebrated the unity of French people on 14 July 1790.
Business Brief is brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN. And Star Assurance, your solid partner.
E-Zone is next. And what do you know? The 2019 winners of Miss Ghana are being trolled on Twitter for not supposedly looking pleasing enough to represent the country anywhere in the world. This troll comes after photos of the finalists were posted on City TV's Twitter handle. There is more in this report. Take a look at this very unpalatable event.
The finals of Miss Ghana 2019 took place, and already the beauty pageant is trending on Twitter for some wrong reasons. This is after photos of the winner and runners-up were shared on social media. Rebecca Nanajua Kwabi, winner of the contest, alongside Sarah Odei Amweni and Deborah Afoko Safo, first and second runners-up respectively, had their pictures shared on City TV's Twitter page as they prepared for a live studio interview. The said pictures, which were taken while the ladies were on set, have stoked conversation on Twitter with tweets suggesting that none of them is beautiful enough to represent the brand. While some used regular texts to express their disapproval, others used memes. Here are some of the comments on Twitter.
Jazil tweeted, "Nobody asked how your day was today because you don't have money or you are ugly." Evans_Neo tweeted, "So the winner of Miss Ghana is going to represent Ghana in Miss World? Local man is confused." Zeiji tweeted, "Oh, and please, whoever did this makeup for those Miss Ghana girls should be sacked or arrested. Whatever." Lady Alma also tweeted, "A man said that's not Miss Ghana, it's Miss Kumasi." Nana_AJ_ also tweeted, "Maybe this year's Miss Ghana selection was based on inner beauty." Mr. Meister also said, "I think Ghana should be shelved for a full 5 years and relaunched with a refreshed approach because I don't know."
26-year-old Rebecca beat 18 other contestants to win the crown at an event held at Kempinski Hotel, Accra.
You know you're being ridiculous thinking same. If you know where to find prettier girls, start your own pageant. I'd like to tell you that we're unable to reach exclusive events for a reaction on this, but that's what I think about this situation. Thank you very much for your company here on tonight's edition of News Tonight. If you missed it, there's always a playback on Facebook and on YouTube. My name is Keminni Amano. Good evening.